story of how doctors are not gods. Doctors make mistakes, but their mistakes can cost too much. Like for this family, our Nora was born prematurely, at 26 weeks. She was so tiny, and the doctors didn't know if they could save her or not. But she was alive, screaming and wanting to live. Preeclampsia is what happened to us, and why we had to have an emergency C-section. The mother's high blood pressure was dangerous. It could cause death to both mother and baby. She was urgently placed in an incubator, where Nora stayed for several more months. All seemed well, our baby was safe, alive and healthy, developing normally. One day, one mistake changed our lives and Nora's life forever. One day a terrible thing happened. After examining, the doctor quickly said something to the nurse. They took Nora away for surgery. The baby had part of her intestines removed. It's good that the problem was noticed in time, but they used to feed her my milk 1 drop at a time. Now we couldn't do that either. She had to change her entire feeding regimen because of the surgery. She was all in tubes and catheters, so tiny but so strong. After a while the stoma was removed and we were told we could go home. What a blessing it was to go home with our little girl. It was very hard to feed her, she hardly absorbed milk. We were taking 20 diapers a day. And the central line was preventing her from developing normally. She had another surgery. Our Nora is so smiley. She was 7 months old, but she seemed to understand everything, looking at us with love and tenderness. The little girl was about to have an operation that would give her a chance to eat, grow, and keep up with her development without any problems. We were with her before the surgery, and she was playing with the surgeon while he told us about the surgery. The doctors made a mistake, her blood sugar levels. She was given the wrong medication for 3 hours until she had several seizures. They gave her saline, and she needed dextrose. She was put into a medically induced coma to save her brain. They didn't bring her out of the coma until the 10th day, but the seizures continued. Her brain was already damaged. So, before the surgery, we didn't have much of a problem. But after, we got a kid with metabolic brain injury, epilepsy, spasms, loss of social interaction. Will she have friends? Will she be able to be like the other kids? What can we do to help her? How can we be? Will we be able to do anything for her? Our child became an invalid in 1 day, in 3 hours. Part of her brain died. After a while, I talked to my cousin, he's a teacher. I asked him to teach children not to be afraid, not to hurt people like Nora. Children who are unusual, sick, with Down syndrome, autism, other problems and birth defects. And that's when we started the Friends of Nora project. We teach other children to be friends with them, to empathize, to understand and not to see them as outcasts, problem children. We teach them love and support. Several years have passed since then. Our Nora is growing up. We work with her, and she sees doctors and psychologists. We seem to have learned how to communicate with her. She is, of course, not a child like the others. But she has her own favorite games and toys, her own preferences. She is trying, I know. Yes, the doctors made a terrible mistake by not checking her sugar level. But we're learning to live with her, just the way she is. We want Nora to have a brother or sister, but my preeclampsia is likely to happen again. So we're going to use a surrogate. Translated with www.depl.com/translator, free version.